Hi everybody, it's Michelle and I am coming from the beautiful outdoors here at my home. The sun has been shining for the last couple of days and it is gorgeous out here. I couldn't miss up a chance to make the video out here instead of stuck in our little bedroom there. I also think this is a much better backdrop than what we have inside. I've had a couple of suggestions for a video and I want to touch on several parts of it, and it has to do with complications from diabetes. There are just a very large amount of complications that can arise, particularly if you don't take care of your diabetes. One of them that somebody mentioned to me, and it wasn't one I was even aware of, is hair loss. And now I'm not going to say that diabetes causes hair loss for everybody, but because there are a lot of other things that can do that. Some of it's just genetics. There's a condition called alopecia, which can cause hair loss. Thyroid problems can cause hair loss. But diabetes, they have found just recently, and it's something that's very new and kind of in its infancy as far as explaining it, but is the hair loss from diabetes. And the reasoning and the thought process behind it is as your blood sugar goes higher, of course, that makes everything work harder. Your little capillaries and veins and all that constrict. Basically the same thing as that causes things like neuropathy in the feet and the legs, and in some cases the hands. Can actually cause parts of your hair to fall out because it's not getting the blood supply to the hair follicles. So that's just a very interesting little bit of information. I really couldn't find a whole lot on it online. A couple of very small studies, nothing that really went in depth yet. So it does seem like it's something that's pretty new as far as just discovering it and investigating why it happens. So that's definitely a thought. I think that if you're a diabetic and you're having problems and your hair is falling out, I think it's something that should be brought up to your doctor, but also make sure that you investigate other reasons for your hair loss. And a lot of them can be treated, so it definitely something worth looking into. I'm going to go kind of a little bit more personal, and I'm going to deal with something that's called necrobiosis lipoidica diabeticorum. It's a huge word. It is almost as scary as it sounds, and it's something that I suffer from. And I'll put in a couple of pictures up here in the video of what it looks like on me. And I'll give you some links to a couple of medical sites that show the different stages of it. Right now mine's in really good shape. They really don't know what causes it. Basically the skin cells and all that are dying quicker than they're regenerating on sections of my leg. It's very painful, especially if you happen to hit it. You know how you tend to smack your shin? It goes even beyond that. It's very painful. It isn't deadly. It isn't actually even something they really worry too much about limb loss with, provided that you take care of it. I have had them open up and not necessarily get infected, but they don't really want to heal because I'm losing the skin and I don't have the blood supply to that particular area on my legs. Other parts of my legs, actually my blood flow is pretty good. I'm really, really lucky with that. But if you end up starting to see these kind of little lesions on your legs and they aren't going away and maybe they're even getting bigger, it's something you might want to bring up with your doctor. Years and years ago when I first got this, I just had 3 little tiny red marks on my legs. And they didn't hurt at that point, they just looked funny. And so I went to a dermatologist for it, and he had no clue what it was. Told me it was nothing, it was no big deal, don't worry about it. And I don't blame him for not noticing it, because necrobiosis isn't something that's real common. But it only took about probably 3 years of bad blood sugars and not taking care of myself for this thing to just explode and to get really big. And then they started opening up, and then they wouldn't heal. And it was a year, 18 months of going into the wound care clinic twice a week to get it to heal up and to heal closed. So it's not good. It is something that can happen if you don't take care of your blood sugars. It's not very common, but if you're like me, I'm kind of one of those lucky ones that if something weird's going to happen, it's going to happen to you. I'm that way. So, and I usually tend to do it up quite right, whether I want to or not. So, like I said, I'll put some pictures in there of that. The one thing about necrobiosis is not all people that are diabetic get it, and not all people that get it are diabetic. Although my type, they tend to put it right back towards the necrobiosis lipoidica diabeticorum. And that would be the part there that distinguishes mine from maybe somebody that doesn't have diabetes. They don't know that diabetes actually causes it, but I think it's one of those that if you have diabetes, it can get worse, it can get harder to control, obviously because your heal time is not as good as most people. So I think that's probably the biggest portion of it. What else? Neuropathy. I suffer from severe diabetic neuropathy. I have no feeling in the bottoms of my feet, except for pain. But I mean, as far as anything else, like if I were to step on a nail or something like that, I would not feel it. I would not know that it happened. So from somebody that used to love running around barefoot, you know, I had to make that change where, you know, I have to wear shoes all the time. Unfortunately, the neuropathy also came with another problem for me, and that was wearing shoes actually makes my feet hurt more. So I run into that problem. You know, I have to wear shoes because I can't run around barefoot anymore. If I were to step on something sharp, I wouldn't know it. But I can't wear tennis shoes, that kind of stuff, for any amount of time because then the pain becomes unbearable. So I usually wear sandals, not flip-flops, not the kind that go in between the toes. That's the last thing as a diabetic that you ever want to wear. You can end up with a wound in there that you aren't aware of, that you don't see, and that can lead to some very, very bad problems, especially on your feet. You know, you're picking up a lot of dirt, that kind of stuff throughout the day. It can get in that wound, it can get in there deep, and you may not know that you've got an infection starting, and it can get really bad before you even do notice it. So definitely something that you want to keep in mind. And mind you, most of this has come from the very first 2 years of my diabetes of not taking care of it. I almost never checked my blood sugar. I would go for a week or more without any insulin. I just wouldn't bother. I got really sick, and there were times that I was taken to the hospital that they didn't know how I was alive, let alone able to walk in and talk to them. Ketoacidosis does very, very bad things to the body. You know, I went in there at one point, they couldn't register any magnesium, they couldn't register any potassium, and these are things that your body needs. You know, your heart needs to keep pumping, and I didn't have them. So I have brought on a lot of these, I think, myself, because I didn't take care of myself. I probably wouldn't even have them at this point, or it's hard to say for sure. But the chances are good that I wouldn't even have these problems now, 25 years later, if I'd have taken care of myself from the very, very beginning. And that's why I want to stress to you guys how so important this is to do. Imagine living your life in a situation where your pain is so bad that you can't get out of bed, that you can't clean your own house, you can't cook your own meals, some days you can't dress yourself, you can't get out and enjoy a beautiful day like this. To me, this is a treat. This is something that's incredible, and I take advantage of every opportunity that I get to do this. So this video is going to be a little long, I realize, and probably a little rambly, but I want it to be more like a real-life situation and a real-life story where we're sitting here talking one-on-one. And I think it's important that you guys understand that I'm not just bringing up medical sites and reading reports to you guys. These are things that I'm living with, that I have lived through. And I'm trying to save a lot of you from a lot of problems. it's hard knowing that I can't take care of my family like I should, or like I want to. It's hard knowing that, you know, my health is that of probably an 80-year-old woman, and I'm 47 years old, you know, and it's because I didn't take care of myself from the very beginning. Thank God I take care of myself now. I believe truly in my heart that I have added years to my life by taking care of myself now. And I've actually added, I think, a little bit of life to my years. I feel better. Even on the bad days, I feel better now than I ever did before I took care of myself. So, you know, it's a good thing. So, you know, even though if you haven't taken care of yourself in the past, it's not a lost cause. You know, start taking care of yourself now. Some of it can be reversed. They have found in some cases with nerve damage, nerves can repair themselves over time. Not a guarantee that it'll happen, but it can. Maybe not all the way. Maybe it won't ever get completely better, but it can improve somewhat anyway. Maybe, you know, make you feel a little bit better, make you feel more like doing things. What else? There's so many things. You know, I'm just now starting to show signs of diabetic retinopathy. I've been very, very fortunate with that. My eyes actually have been pretty good, other than nearsightedness, which runs in my family. It's actually been pretty good. My thyroid, I had my thyroid removed 2 years ago now from cancer. The thyroid problems run in my family, so I had that against me. I'm a smoker, had that against me, and I'm diabetic. So I had 3 strikes there. Still working on trying to quit smoking, and that is actually a goal of mine, a realistic one. So, you know, even though I've been doing it since I was 13 years old, I still think I can do it. And I do know I'll feel better afterwards. And it also will help improve the things like neuropathy and that kind of stuff, because my blood will flow through my body better, and I will heal quicker, and you know, there's just so many good things that can come of that. The last thing I want to talk to you about is not actually one that goes with diabetes, but there are those that have it, and it's called hidradenitis. And it's something that I have, and it typically runs with people that are overweight. And what I get basically are these very large, very painful infected cysts and that kind of stuff in my, for me it's just like in my groin and my thigh area. A lot of people get them on their armpits, they get them on their buttocks. Basically, anywhere where you tend to store that excess weight, you can get it there. I have what's considered stage 1, which means it just kind of comes and goes, and it actually does heal up on its own, provided I go see a doctor, normally a surgeon, and have it taken care of. I'm going to put in a link for you guys to a gentleman that I follow on YouTube who has hidradenitis. He has stage 4. And he's very open, he's very honest. They are very graphic videos, so, you know, I'm not going to actually put any up here in my video, but I'll put a link down below, so maybe some of you, if you're suffering from something like this, can get a little bit more support in that area too. He's a neat man. He truly cares. It's all for education purposes, for you guys to learn and to maybe not knock someone down so much if you don't understand what's going on. There are things going on in somebody's body that you'll never know. You know, maybe that person doesn't look disabled, but they are, you know. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not easy to get on disability. I had to fight like heck for it. So, and I don't always look disabled. I walk every single chance I get. I am so scared that one of these days I'm just not going to be able to do it, that I want to enjoy it while I have it. That then in turn brings up the snide comments, nasty notes on the cars, that kind of stuff. So hopefully those of you that aren't disabled, that maybe don't quite understand it, can take a little bit of time and think about that. So anyway, it's a beautiful day out here. I could probably stay out here for hours on end and talk to you guys, but for right now, let's just end it with that. What I would love for you guys to do is send me, if you don't mind, if you would like, your personal stories about complications, hospital visits, that kind of stuff. We can keep it anonymous. I'd love to share some of those and how you overcame that and what was done to kind of resolve that problem that you had. So I'll put all the links down below. Subscribe, share. Remember, I love you guys so very much. Check your sugars, know what your numbers are, and take care of yourself. I love you guys very much. Bye.